Take over. This time, hold it steady.
Where are you going?
Drop a bomb.
The era of Roger Moore is over. That's Timothy Dalton, the fourth actor to try his hand as Agent 007 in a major James Bond adventure. This one's called The Living Daylights.
Our first movie is The Living Daylights with Timothy Dalton as the new James Bond. And I guess the question that people would like an answer to is, what kind of a James Bond does he make? Well, I give him a mixed review. Timothy Dalton is a good actor. He is very convincing in the movie's more serious moments. He has a great screen presence. He looks interesting. But if he has a weakness, it's the comic side of the character. With Sean Connery and with Roger Moore, you always knew that they saw the humor in James Bond, and I've always thought of this series as basically sort of a put-on plus special effects anyway. So with Dalton looking for humor, I wasn't so sure. Look, for example, at this scene involving a new edition of Bond's famous Aston Martin. Sean Connery had a lot of fun with the original version of this car, but Dalton plays it a little bit straighter.
What is this?
I've had a few optional extras installed.
Amazing, this modern safety glass. Time to leave.
The movie includes a full array of all the usual obligatory Bond stunts. Here's a cliffhanger on Gibraltar in a scheme that involves the Russians and a renegade American arms dealer who wants to smuggle opium from Afghanistan. To stop the plot, Bond disguises himself as an Afghan and plants a bomb in a plane load of opium. He almost gets away with it, but he's spotted by the villain, played by Jerome Krabs. This is the most spectacular scene in the movie. Bond and the bad guy's henchman, thousands of feet in the air, while Bond's newest girlfriend nervously tries to pilot that plane. Diabo there, a former model as the beautiful blonde. A lot of social observers have taken note of the fact that Bond, the old ladies' man, has a very conservative affair with just that one woman in this movie, unless, of course, you count the fact that in the pre-title sequence, they always have at least one scene where Bond drops in on some beautiful woman unexpectedly. Maybe that lack of Bond's traditional promiscuity in this film reflects the fear of AIDS in our society. I don't know, but it puts a lot of responsibility on Miriam Diabo's shoulders as the only Bond woman in the whole movie. And after such legendary Bond girls as Ursula Andress, Maud Adams, Kim Basinger, and Britt Eklund, I frankly didn't find her very interesting. She just didn't seem to have the psychic weight to carry this role. She plays a Russian cello player who's innocently caught up in espionage, but the plot is never the point anyway in a Bond picture. It's just the relationships and the stunts, and my bottom line is the movie has great stunts, it has good special effects, it has a Bond who needs to work on his sense of humor, and it has a Bond girl who is not in the great tradition.
And
I should add thumbs down.
Me too, Roger. I was disappointed in the film. I'm not as impressed, actually, with Dalton as you are. He's better than Roger Moore, but for me, that's not much of a compliment. He's nowhere near Connery was. It's a classic figure. To me, he looked a little mousy. This Pierce Brosnan, I saw him in a new film coming up, Fourth Protocol. I think he might make a better Bond. He has more of the verve for life. This guy seems a little reticent. The other thing that you mentioned, I think, is very accurate about the Bond woman. She's not very appealing. And then the third point I'd like to make is all of the stunts that work are borrowed from the earlier films. The ticking clock down, remember how down to 007 in the original, they did it, the wheel, the spinning wheel. It's all taken from stuff before. They got nothing new here, really, Roger, and that's why it doesn't work.
I'm not sure exactly how much new you expected them to have. At this point in the series, they've exhausted the entire life work of Ian Fleming and everybody else who could think of a plot.
Exhausted.
So I've got to go back now and defend Timothy Dalton. Now, you mentioned Pierce Brosnan, who was also offered this role. Dalton, I think, does have a very good screen presence here. I think that he's the last thing I would describe him as mousy. I think that's an astonishing thing for you to say.
Well, I did it. I called James Bond a mouse.